Without further ado, let's start the debate. Let's start the debate with the Prime Minister. You're here.
All right. First of all, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
All right. Let me set my timer first. Okay. My name is Fatia Nisha. My gender pronoun is she or her. If you want to deliver your POI, just please unmute yourself because I will not read the chat box. So I'll start my speech in 3, 2, and 1. Panel, as we are currently debating today under today's motions, we as the opening government, we proudly support these motions. However, we need to see what's currently happening in the status quo right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the world we are living today, the development of the entertainment industry has been increasingly, especially if we can relate it to the idol industry itself, for example, like a K-pop idol or J-pop idol and so on and so forth. However, due to this development of this kind of industries, there is also an escalation of the hate-driven or misled or hatred, which is committed by the fans of this or certain idols itself towards the other bases or the other idols that is really opposites from their own idols itself. So that's what becomes the problems here from the status quo, because these hate-driven actions and also the other hate comments on so on and so forth can lead to can lead to I'm sorry, because this kind of like the hate actions towards the other idols or other fan bases and so on and so forth, there is no actually clarity of who is responsible for all of these things or all of these distractions and so on and so forth that happened in the society itself because of those actions. And that is why we think that it is becomes the responsibility also to this idol to be responsible to their fans to actually at least to educate their fans or giving a direction or guidance to their fans and not doing so. So we believe that because there is no clarity of who will be responsible for actually with this kind of actions, that is why we think that there's a problem from the status quo right now. So what we going to do today is actually we would like to add the more mechanism or more option of the punishment that is being given to the idol itself, caused by the hate-driven action by the fans. By not only we are talking about the punishment, we need to take it into account that the punishment isn't always related to like putting someone into jail and case a lawsuit or so on and so forth, but also there's another form and another form of punishment which we believe that we want to emphasize here, that is that punishment in the form of educate these fans to more wise and to do some kind of action that do not violate the other people's rights and so on and so forth. And also at the end of the day that we want to achieve here is that we can get to know there is a clarity of what punishment should be given so that this kind of actions could be reduced in the future, and also as the form of the responsibility by the idol itself to be shown to their fans like that. So therefore, the main question of this debate is actually is that whether or not the idol is justified to be punished for the hate-driven acts that their fans commit against other people within the industry. So with that being said, what are we going to do is actually pretty simple. We are actually going to prove that the punishment given to the idol caused by the fans action is really justified. So moving on to my argumentations, is that why it motivates these fans to do so, and also why is it justified to the idols to get punished by the action committed by their fans? So what motivates these fans to do so? So we need to think that once there is an idols and there is a fans and there is actually like a social or emotional connection between both of them, especially from the fans to the idol itself, because they see that these idols can represent them with their music genre, with their appearance, with their performance, that these fans cannot actually do it in the real life. So as a representation of what they actually dream of, they have like emotional connection. So this actually can motivate these fans to do any kind of things that would defend this idol from whatever things that is happening towards them. For example, let's say there is a case or scandal with this idol and the other idols, which they know actually this their idol isn't actually guilty. So that's why they will defend their idol and attack this another idol or other fan bases like that. And because of this emotional connection, it is strong enough for them to do such thing, even if it needs to be like a violations towards the other people, which actually we cannot actually accept this thing to happen. But that's what they would like to do, and what would they as the fans would sacrifice for their idol because of this emotional connection, and they feel related to this idol, and that's why they want to defend this idol no matter what happened. And why is it justified to the others to get punished by the action committed by their fans? Just because their fans actually look upon into these idols a lot, so they would really take an example from this idol. So that is why idols as a public figure, it's one of the responsibility to actually show to the society, especially to their fans, what's good and what's right, what's good and what's wrong. Yes, please.
You said that it is idols' responsibility to show example, but we don't see any real life example of how idols are showing exactly provocative expression toward another idol. So I think it already happened in real life.
Okay, I got your point, but the thing is that even though they do not really show the provocative action, but actually from example that I said to you, they have a scandal with the other idols and so on and so forth, and it escalates the motivation inside of these fans to defend themselves. And the way that defend is actually kind of like variations, and we cannot actually reduce that. And so that's why we think that it is justified also to these idols to be responsible to actually educate their fans, to actually show what is good or what's right to their fans to do, so that their image as the idol and also as the fan bases also can be actually preserved because of that. So the quality, the image of the idols, and also the image of the fan bases and the fans as a whole can be actually protected with this idol be justified to be punished because all of the things that currently happening right now. So once again, that we would like to emphasize here is that the punishment can be in the form of the educate or any and so on and so forth. Not only putting them in the prison like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we strongly believe that this motion actually should stand. Therefore, I'm very proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for that speech. Moving on to open the case of OO, I invite the Leader of Opposition to start your speech. Here.
Test. Am I audible?
Yes.
Wait, set timer. Let me set timer. POI preference is through the chat, and wait. Okay, POI through the chat will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judges, we think that the opening government didn't have an explain identity on who they are protecting at all, and who is the vulnerable actor in this debate. Because as we think that if they want to protect this kind of idol from the toxic behavior fans, then it is ironically to give them more burden, more job to watch over their fans. So we think that by this debate, there are a few clarification to respond to this debate. First is my first clarification is status quo right now is progressive judges. Their fans already know what is wrong and what is right. This is their choice to do the hatred or not their to the other idols, not the idols' intention to choose the fans should be toxic or not. So we think that by this kind of status quo progressing, the urgency giving the responsible isn't that urgent. By giving the punishment, like even if it is like it is not that hard punishment, like educating and extra, but we think that this responsible isn't really justified, and it will explain furthermore in my argument. Second point in here, we should think that we should think that the vulnerable actor in this debate is the idol itself. Why? Because we think that by the entertainment industry, the idol already have been many facing problems. So we think that all of the interest towards this motion should be related to the idol also, because we think that the opening government really being ignorant towards the idol itself. So by this kind of clarification, opening opposition will will make this debate more clear. And about the rebuttal and all of the response will be integrated in my argument. So in here, our position is to make this to protect this kind of idol to make this protection towards this idol. Why? Because this idol is really vulnerable, right? And in my speech, I like to explain to you my argument. My first argument is punishing the idol will not be solving the source of the problem. And then my second argument is about the idols already have suffering enough with the entertainment industry. Moving on to my first argument. And before I'm going to my point, I like to explain to you on how the hate-driven will be occur in the status quo. In the status quo, there are two main sources of problem. The first is jealous. Why the fans being toxic and why these fans create hate to the other idol. First is the jealousy because their idol have less power, and the second thing is their idols got the scandal with the other idols. So moving on to my first is jealousy because their idol have less power. This is by this kind of reason, we think that the resource of the problem is by the fans itself. This is like what I said before. This is the fans to choose to hate to other people or not of the idol. So we think that by punishing the idol will not make this jealousy will be shutting down, because there will be constant improvement towards one idol into other idol. And second is because there is competing, right? So we think that by only punishing the idol, it will not resolve this jealousy problem. And last likely by educating, even if it is true that by educating punishment will works to decrease the jealousy, we think that this is not effective. Why? Because first, idol didn't have any power to watch over their fans 24/7, and then second is what kind of education that they want to achieve, why this is the only solution that we should take, because we think that the education in here isn't really effective towards this kind of fans. Second, moving on into the scandal with the other idol. So this is one of the reason that the idols didn't have any intention, right? So we think that this is all of the decision making all towards the fans itself. So we think by punishing the idol will not solve this kind of problem, because the scandal isn't really a predictive event that the idol can be predict. And then second is even if it is true that the scandal like having a couple, like idol having a couple, but it is their private problem, right? So we think that this is not the fans problem, and that's why we shouldn't punish this kind of idol. And what is the implication of the resource of the problem is this is not the idol's responsible, because this is not their action, because we think that this is out of their control. And the second is this is not their idol intention to have a bad relation to other idols, like this is the private problem, right? So we think that all of the before that, OG.
Yes. Okay. So isn't it the more responsibility of the idols itself to actually have their fans obey the rule or the norms itself? Well, how do you respond?
Okay, thank you for the POI. We think that this is the fans is so that be constantly reminded by the idol, because we think this is the norm and this is the general ethic that all of the humans should be obeying, right? So we think that by there is the urgency to putting this kind of reminder towards the idol. So by we think that by this kind of reason, this is unjustified to make this punishment towards the idol. My second argument is about the idol already have a suffering enough with the entertainment industry. We should characterize first about the idol. My first point is this isn't fair to punish them. Why? Because it will endanger the idol career, their career that has been effort towards many years will be falling down just because their fans behave. So we think this is not fair because their suffering, their sacrifice isn't worth with their punishment, right? So, and then second thing is it makes the idol burden to be perfect and should take a look on how their fans behave. We think that this is an inhuman, ladies and gentlemen, because idol will have a limited choice, and even they have a limitation with watch over their fans behavior. For example, like they are being overworked by the entertainment industry, they are also practicing many hours for the performance as a star. We think that by putting more burden, it will make the idol more suffering in the entertainment industry, and it will make it will big open chance that this idol will be retired in the industry. So we think that, and also in the last problem is it can be an opportunity for their antis or the anti-fans to make this idol got the punishment, because we think that the fans can be anonymous. So we think by this kind of proposal, we oppose this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, LO, for that speech. Now, to continue the case of OG, I invite the Deputy Prime Minister. You're here.
Okay. Before I start, my POI preference is by unmute yourself, but please do it gently. And also you can do it through chat box also. Okay. So also my gender pronouns is your, her, and now I will start my speech in 3, 2, and 1. Now, here, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that in current status quo, the thing that you should actually keep in mind is that in the status quo right now, they are actually the kind of the hate-driven that is being done by the fans, and also in the status quo right now, it is actually available for the idols to actually file lawsuits to actually to someone that is threatened them by comments and so on and so over. And by even with the status quo right now, that they are actually being given the options to file lawsuits to actually file lawsuits to for people by giving them hate comments. It's still not stopping the hate-driven that is being done by the fans, and so that we believe that by the status quo that is not working right now, we believe that it will be better if we can actually choosing who is actually the exact people that is responsible for this phenomenon of the hate-driven itself. Now here, as the response towards the opponent team is that we are not expecting idols to actually watch their fans 24/7, ladies and gentlemen, and those that we believe that it will not adding more burden into their life. We know that they have suffered enough in their career. They have suffered enough not to we add another problem into their life, but we believe that we are not also expecting them to actually watching what the behavior of their friends doing 24/7. There are hundreds of people that is willing to work for them and updating them on what's happening within their fandom. And we think that in this reasons, we believe that there is nothing that we're giving another burden into their life. We believe that we just expecting them to educating their fans that because we believe that the idol itself, they aware of how big influence that they have over their fans, and thus we believe that by that power that the idols itself have, that they have to giving a good giving them like educations that they should not doing things like this, hurting other people, for example. And second is that how that the opposition keeps saying that the fans is actually choose to be bad and to choose to doing hate comments or not. Now that we believe that the choices that the fans have is actually not really not really the choices. It's you have to understand that what have been said by the Prime Minister itself, that the motive of the fans to actually defend their idols, and this we believe that with these motivations that the fans have to back up, to support their actions on, for example, like hurting other people and giving threat to other fandom or even artists itself. We believe that the choices that they made because of the support of this kind of motivations blindly because of this obsessions or love towards their idols, those that we believe that the choices that these fans have is actually non-existent because it's supported by the bond love that the fans actually have. Now that we here that the thing is that we believe that it actually the responsibility of the idol itself. Okay, let me talk about two things here that I will actually say to you that why it is justified to say that it is the responsibility of the idol, and the second is how that it is will prevent the hate-driven from happening again in the future. First thing is that how that is the responsibility of the idol, as what my prime minister said, but I will extend it that the responsibility of the idol itself is to be aware of their influence on people, ladies and gentlemen. It is to be aware of their influence on people. They know that what they are doing, they know that what they are saying is actually will directly influence their fans. But for example, like for some certain fandoms, there are idols that is actually explicitly being arrogant and their lyrics being bragging about their achievement, for example, and their lyrics, and those it's giving it justify for their fans to actually do the same, to actually saying that, oh, because my idols are actually doing that kind of thing, then it will justify me to do the same to the others, especially if the situations is that the other fandom, for example, attacking their idols and saying the kind of things that's hurting them, and then they backfire and saying that the bragging things that the idols that their idols are actually saying, and that by these reasons we believe that this kind of things is actually this kind of fan wars and the hype drive that is being done by the fans is heavily influenced, and is thus it's responsible of the idol itself, because the idol is they aware of how the power that they have, and they don't actually giving a kind of disclaimer to their fans to say that, okay, my lyrics is okay, my lyrics, I'm writing a song that of myself being bragging about my achievement, I'm being arrogant, and but this is just an art. Yes.
I think that when it comes to like idols, they have like industry that could control them regarding like something that they cannot do, idol cannot do, and don't. Therefore, when it comes to fans judging or like delivering hate speech, I think that it intentionally, purely from the fans itself. So it's not have relation why we need to punish the idol.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have explained it before that it's what motivates the fans to do so. So I think it will still justify for us to punish the idol, as it's the responsibility to actually know that they have this kind of influence on people. Now that okay, moving on, that how that it will actually prevent unnecessary hate driven from happening in the future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as what I've said before, that this kind of hate driven that is being done by the fans is actually motivates or influenced a lot by the idol itself. And now that because of this, if we applying these rules, if we stating that if you if there's actually the high drive that is happening in the status quo, and for example that hands and hating on other people, on other fandom or other idol, for example, giving them threats, we will punish your idols for that reasons. Now that we believe that by giving them like the kind of like what is it like the kind of result of what you do, then it will actually prevent them to think twice of what kind of unnecessary words that they will throw to other people. And thus that because of the hype driven that they done is actually the main reasons because of these idols. If the biggest reasons of the reasons is being punished and whatsoever, then we believe that it will actually prevent them from doing so, and thus we're proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you, DPM, for that speech. To close the case of OO, I invite Deputy Leader of Opposition. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Is there any noise in the background?
Yeah, there's some noise, but you're clear.
Okay. My gender pronouns is he, him. POI through chat, I will take preferably from the crossing, and then Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judges, we the cases of the opening government rely heavily on the educations and how the education will influence the fans of the certain idols to behave uh, accordingly. I will prove to you how this couldn't happen, and then I also will show even if they do it, uh, I will tell how this one this is hard to apply in the internet. Yeah, in the internet because of anonymity. First of all, how this thing will still happen even though there is an education. First of all, it's the anonymity in the internet itself. Uh, how how do we know exactly that the one who's flaming for a fan war is exactly the fans of certain fan base? It can be a troll, it can be a fans of another fan base who's trying to taunt the certain fan base to fight each other and so on and so on. So we think that even if the idol is trying to give education and all, it it doesn't really work. Uh, then I will move to my arguments about the first psychological conditions of problematic fans, and the second, the industry that is targeting this problematic fans in the first place. Okay, first of all, the psychological conditions of the problematic fans. I don't want to be really general here, saying that all fans of certain idols is asshole, but the problematic is immature. And why? Because idols are, of course, they're singing pop songs, and especially in Korean or Japan, they're singing pop songs that's directly targeting teens and pre-teenager fans. And we know how teenagers and pre-teenagers are behaving in the internet. They are immature and they don't have any ethics of how are they doing it. And also the anonymity that I already said before make it really hard for fans, for idols educating the fans to actually work. The second kind of problematic fans is the fans with certain obsession. With I don't want to call it mental illnesses, but it is really really hard obsession. So maybe I can call it mental illness. This is the one that is doing the really hard crime in the cases. They are the one who's sending death threats. Sometimes they are sending bomb threat, or they are directly sending like trashes towards some idols' addresses. These are the problematic fans that is being targeted by the industry because what is it? Internet algorithm that is trying to hook them in to the pleasure that is uh, being inside an idol fandom. That because of that reason, it is really hard for this kind of fans to actually listen to their idol education, because even though they are heavily influenced by the idol, we know the psychology of people who is being obsessed are not really logical, because like I don't want to say it is like religion, but in some sense, this kind of fanaticism in the problematic fans are like their own religions, and sometimes they do violence because they think it's for the greater good of their quote unquote religions. And the second part is I want to talk about the industries. My first speaker has already talked to you about how the industries are giving the idols hard time by overworking the idols. And then also the closing opposition also give a contribution here by saying that the industry are giving certain code to idols to behave accordingly. that's why we think that education won't actually work, because in the status quo it already happened, and they already behaving, not counting the other idols, and the hate crime still happen. And what I want to talk here, the new one, is how the industry itself are trying to get fan to fanaticism. They are, like what I said, they are directly targeting the vulnerable actor, there is the fans. Okay, how they are targeting the vulnerable actors, there's the fans, through merchandising, through, for example, they are abusing the algorithm in Twitter, in YouTube, to make sure that certain idol songs are being recommended over and over and over again towards uh, their this kind of problematic fans, like the immature, the preteen and teenager is using the internet really like most of the time, and that's why we think that the responsibility falls into the industry itself to take care of the consumer, taking care of the consumers, and it is their responsibility to refrain themselves from predatory marketing towards the most vulnerable actors. Okay, I have shown to you how it is not likely for education to work, and because of the psychological conditions of the fans. And also I have shown to you how it is the industry's responsibilities, like the companies, the agencies, not the idol's responsibility to, if there's a punishment, they're the one who should be getting lawsuit, or they're the one who should get doing the education. That's why we think that our side stands. Thank you.
Thank you, DLO, for that speech. To open the closing half of the debate, I invite Member of Government. Here. Yes, but your voice is a bit like diem gitu. Can you come closer to the mic?
Okay, that's how about this?
It's better, but mungkin bisa lebih gede lagi suaranya.
Oh yeah. Okay. I prefer POI in chat box, guys. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our mission today to HPE idols should be punished for the hate crime acts that they often commit against our people within the industry. Here, as the government side of the host, before we jump in our substantive material, there's several things that we need to respond toward the opposition side. First, the opposition talking about the animals that makes, for example, misunderstanding towards the idol and also the fans and any other people. Here, we need to say that the mechanism of punishment that we're going to give idols is not only because that their fans not simple as because the fans is give hatred, for example. So the idol itself directly gives punished by the government, for example. So and so, ladies and gentlemen, here we say that there is a filtration. We're looking through who actually the anonymous, for example, makes this hatred, ladies and gentlemen. Not directly give not only directly tell that this is actually the fans from this idol, for example, so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. Here, actually, the momentum where the agency or the government or so on and so forth that will going looking for the who actually fans that do this kind of hatred, ladies and gentlemen, so on and so forth. And the second of all, they also talking about that this is actually the responsibility from the agency or from the industry to education and give them education to do not hate the other people, so I can suffer, ladies and gentlemen. But here are the things under our side of the house. We say that why the reason and motivate why the fans do that hatred because of this fans because of this idol, ladies and gentlemen. We think that the core and the only thing that fans looking and protected is actually the actually coming from the idol itself, ladies and gentlemen. So we think that it is actually the responsibility from the idol itself, because the fans is just want to protect the idol, not protect the agency or industry, so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. So, as the government side of the host, we need to clarify several things towards this motion. France actually did have drive X because of several things, ladies and gentlemen. For example, their idol getting disturbed by hate X from other people, so on and so forth, or the idol itself do not really give them educate so do not hate so do not hate the other people, so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. We need to know that fans most likely will be hate drive X because they do not like their idol hated by other people. They do that in order to protect their idol, so that will be nothing X hates to their own idol anymore, so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. Here we can see that fans will be hate drive X only for their idol because it's impossible for them hate other people without any reason, especially towards their lovely idol. For example, they really do not like if their idol getting hate or hatred, so on and so forth, by other people. So as the government side of the host, we believe that it is actually the responsibility by the idol itself, because hatred that coming from their fans to protect this idol, ladies and gentlemen. So here are the things under our side of the host that we are going to explain. First, I'm going to talking about the justifiable punish the idol, and the second of all, I'm going to talking about what will happen in the next of the day if punish the idol is applied, so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. First, I'm going to talking about the justifiable punished idol. We need to know that the relation with idol and fans is not only because of the visual, because of any other things, but actually the fans and all fans and idol is put emotional feeling together. We believe that it is actually the responsibility towards the idol, because fans is do that head threats because of they want to protect their idols, so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. So we think that the very first reason why why fans do that hate threats because of they want to protect and they do not like they do not like their idol getting disturbed by hate comments on and suffered by other people, ladies and gentlemen. So we think that we think that it's actually justifiable if punished idol because of that several reasons that I have said before, ladies and gentlemen. Because the first reason the fans do that hate threats is because of they want to protect and they want to protect their own idol, ladies and gentlemen. The core why fans is do not through hate comments is because of their idol, so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. And the second of all, I'm going to talking about the future implication if we apply to punish the idol because of fans hate threats, ladies and gentlemen. It is actually like I said before, I say before about the very first reason why fans give hate threats for other people is because of to protect their fans, their idols, so on and so forth. We think that if we punish the idol, fans will not hate them anymore because fans will feel sorry because impact of their hate threat for any people is impact for their idol for their own idol, ladies and gentlemen. We think that the fans will think because of my hate speech or my hate acts towards the other people impacts to my idol. So my idol my idol is get punished from the agency or investors and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. We think it is actually the momentum where the it's actually the momentum where fans will realize actually they are wrong. They are wrong. They will not do that anymore because of they feel sorry for the idols and so forth. They will not do that anymore. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Member of Government, for that speech. To open the case of CEO, I invite Member of Opposition, but just a reminder for everyone to please accept POIs as it may reflect on your final result. Thank you. Here, MO. Member of Opposition,
Hello,
are you here?
am I audible?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, before I get to my argument, there are several things that we must evaluate from the opening debate and also the closing government. First thing first, let's see the opening government cases, ladies and gentlemen. The opening government is only rely the argument that they said, oh, the idol is responsible because the fans motivate because the idol have emotionally bonding with the idol. Look, ladies and gentlemen, bond is never justified the idol to responsible of what this fans did, ladies and gentlemen. And the second thing, they glorify about the education that the idol should do, ladies and gentlemen. But look, the education is already in the status quo right now, ladies and gentlemen. The idol already educate from social media with writing on Instagram or maybe on their YouTube channel and so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. And also in every performance, I think the idol is never teach or ask their fans to do hatred, right? Moreover, they do a good persona. They become a polite artist, spread cuteness and so on and so forth, ladies and gentlemen. Because of that, I think the education is there. And yeah, the cases of OG is not is for, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move to the closing government. The closing government told to us that fans will protect their idol from the punishment. Because of that, they will do not do hatred again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm questioning this argument, ladies and gentlemen. Why is that so? Because look, at the very first place, the hatred happened also because the fans want to protect the idol from the other fans, right? Because of that, look, this whole government benches, they never explain to us why with punishing idol, it will erasing a bad intention on, or maybe they never explain to us on how the controlling offense will be occur in their case, ladies and gentlemen. Because of that, let's move to the opening opposition. The opening opposition already proved to us that they already explained to us that the idol is not responsible with this hate-driven act, ladies and gentlemen. But I think this is not enough. There are still the other big harms that exist with punishing the idols, ladies and gentlemen. The bigger harm is the toxic entertainment industry, ladies and gentlemen. And I will explain to you in three explanations, ladies and gentlemen. First, I will explain to you. It will create anti-critics industry. The second thing, the consequence of idol is already there, and the last thing, the hatred will be worse, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's move to my first argument. Ladies and gentlemen, I will explain to you on how this punishment, it will create the anti-critic industry, ladies and gentlemen. Punishing the idol when hatred-driven act that their fans commit is erasing the counterbalance of criticism, ladies and gentlemen. With this kind of policy, with this kind of punishment, we will erasing the counter of criticism. As a fans idol from any judge and critic, it will create an anti-critic industry, ladies and gentlemen. And critic will become a taboo in entertainment industry, because when you critic us, the other fan base will critic will count it as a hatred, and your idol will be punished, ladies and gentlemen. And this will create a bad industry, ladies and gentlemen, because there are no counterbalance. I will explain to you why it is important at the very first place, ladies and gentlemen. If there are something inappropriate in the industry, like example, doing a bad habit towards the other artist, or maybe a polite action, and so on and so forth, critics, right? Because yeah, your friends will count it as a hatred, ladies and gentlemen. If there are no counterbalance, there will be no development in entertainment industry, ladies and gentlemen. Because so that we want it happen. The second argument, I will explain to you the consequence of hate-driven act that their fans commit. It already affect the idols, ladies and gentlemen, without punishing the idol. Ladies and gentlemen, some consequences that already imply in status quo. There are two consequences, ladies and gentlemen. First thing first, in the status quo, there are already social judgment, ladies and gentlemen. The society that, yeah, maybe the gray area people, ladies and gentlemen, their fans, this society judge the fans, society, the fanatic fans, ladies and gentlemen. The society will ask the idol to maintain their fans, and the agency also force the idol to maintain their idol, ladies and gentlemen, to maintain their fans, to create a good image of the idol, ladies and gentlemen. And moreover, the fanatic fans make the event organizer or maybe promoter will think twice if they want to invite the idol, ladies and gentlemen, because the event organizer do not want the hatred to happen, or maybe do not want the riots that maybe occur, ladies and gentlemen, in that event, right? So the consequence is already there. It makes the idol loses their job, ladies and gentlemen. And the bad fans is creating a bad image of the artist at the very first place, because of that it is enough to burdening the artist, and and I think without the punishing the idols, it is already there are already consequences to the artist, ladies and gentlemen. The last thing I will explain to you why it will the hatred will be worsen, ladies and gentlemen. The opening opposition already talks about the anonymity, ladies and gentlemen, and I will explain to you to extending the anonymity, ladies and gentlemen. The anonymous or maybe the underground hat driven will be happen, ladies and gentlemen. The rising it will rise the anonymous account to commit hatred, ladies and gentlemen, and we believe it will be worsened rather than in the status quo right now, ladies and gentlemen. Why it is worsened? First, the hatred will be bigger before that, ladies and gentlemen, because the anonymous can do anything, ladies and gentlemen, and it is worse, ladies and gentlemen. The second thing, it's hard for us to detect or to find the anonymous account, ladies and gentlemen. And at the end of the day, what happened to us? It's hard for entertainment industry or to for the idol to prevent this kind of action, because that it will only create a toxic entertainment industry that will happen with punishing this artist, this idol, because of that I'm proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, member of opposition, for that speech. Reminder to everyone to please offer POIs so that everyone can have an engaging debate. Without further ado, to close the case of the government bench, I invite government whip. Here.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So before we deliver our speech, I would like to give the response from the previous speaker and all of the teams that has been discussed this motion. The first is the previous speaker said something about toxic entertainment industry, which is the first will create anti-critic industry with no counterbalance. This is why we oppose this, because this punishment proposed is to counterbalance the situation that happened in the status quo, where the fans is already spreading the hate hatred. And this is why the punishment would be neat, so that it could balance all the opinions and also judgment that happens in such school. The second is like they said something about already affecting the idols, because there are already social judgment. Even organizer will withdraw and making their idol lose their job. We have to know that punishment is not always defined as like severally harm, and there are several ways to punish people, and doesn't mean that it will greatly harm the person itself. In this case, for example, we could punish the idols by socially address themselves, which is already told by the previous speaker, on their responsibility of becoming the celebrity or the people that could influence their fan base properly. It could have done in such a proper way. And this method is also how we could supervise the public figure on how they rule to be the role model or example to the society, especially their fan base that could start from the very young age, that already has been said too, that they're immature and etc. We also like to explain it, linked to that previous statement on how the hate-driven acts could severely harm the idols. Given an example, idol named Sully from the K-pop girl band FX has passed away after committing suicide because of the bullying that she got from the hate comments in her social media. And this is how this big matter is. And this is how this big matter is, and to justify the act to discipline on the idol, on how the idols give their impact verbally or non-verbally, because we know in the status quo idols have their agencies that also has been said that their agency strictly limited and guide their every words and moves. So, ladies and gentlemen, now why do the agency need to do this? This proves exactly on how idols have responsibility toward their fans, and also to justify how their how they educate their audience. And the fan base. We also know that the agency or of some group idol has their own name of the fandom, such as BTS Army, Blackpink, Bling. They even made member of that. They get something from the fan base about the fan base buy their albums, they buy their ticket concert and the other. So that's why this is the idol's responsibility to educate and also give some feedback, so that the both the fandom and the idols itself would get win-win solution and beneficial a feedback for both of the side. We also like to say that the previous speaker said something about hatred will be there in the toxic entertainment industry, and this is the hatred will be there because the fan is not controlled by something, and this is linked to our argument, which I would like to deliver now. The first is why we justify the punishment on the idols on how they lead to hate driven act to commit on other people in the industry. We know that when their fans lead to other some of the things that they done, they could be say harsh word, harsh comment, and other mean attitude to other idols, and this could lead to more worse case. What is the example? The example is there's a case on the Korean industry, which is named Burning Sun, which is also linked to how their court and also how their politics there. And when you spread hatred there, you are worsening the situation of how the investment of investigating things that has done in that situation. And this case will be totally lead the opinions into the bias and be as media play. And this is why we have to punish the idols for their fans, so that it would not go wider and spread it and worsen into the chaos of the status quo. So we like to give our argument. The second is like it balance and become a standard and a limitation, and how this industry will have rules and also some kind of indirectly regulation about how the person and the people of the community and their fandom have to behave as they want the idols to be. It's just not only by supporting in some aggressive and also overreacting ways, such as a hate driving act, but they can keep supporting their idols in a positive way and not even like ban some kind of site. So it will be the best solution for this use already say that status quo is toxic industry. So this is why we strongly oppose this motion, and like your arguments, and we support the motion about the justify of the punishment on the idols, on how they like lead their fan base into the more well-being thing for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Government Whip, for that speech. Just a reminder for everyone to please accept POIs because you must take at least one. To close the debate, let's have Opposition Whip. Here. Op Whip, are you here?
Yeah, check, I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Is there any back sound? Yeah.
Yep, a little bit.
Could you please wait a second? For the POI preference, just unmute yourself. Let me set my paper. Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. The team that can win this debate is the team that can explain to you, first of all, on how, by their proposal, whether or not to punish the idol. In the end, they can achieve their goal, which is, I think that all the benches already agree that we want to lessen the chaos or maybe like the hatred by the fans itself. And second of all, the team that can win this debate is that the team that can give the educators like insight on how the effect of like the benefit or harm regarding what will happen towards the idol, and also especially in the industry as a whole. Therefore, I think that closing opposition can take this burden and also can win this debate, where I will explain to you the comparison towards the whole cases of the teams in this debate. Before that, several engagement toward the government benches. First of all, I think that regarding the closing government cases, I think that a lot that mainly their argument is derivative from the OG. Therefore, I will address that later on regarding the OG cases. But however, closing government mentioned to you that first of all, this kind of hatred speeches are like driven act delivered by the fans itself in purpose to protect this kind of idol, but they never explain to you on why in the end the protection is really important for this kind of idol by delivering the kind of hatred speeches, right? Because when it comes to like their hatred speeches, I think that not only in the industry or maybe like in the social itself or maybe in the fan base itself, there is like an like the insight or maybe like the education or code of conduct regarding whether like to separate whether or not this kind of expression is like the hate or like the protection for the idol itself. Therefore, it's unlikely for the closing government when they want to protect the idol by justifying this kind of hate speeches, because when it comes to hate speeches, my previous speaker already, my member already told you that in the end of the day, the idol cannot control this kind of hate speeches, and by default, the industry and whatsoever already written the code of conduct, or maybe have like delivering, like for example, the check and balance regarding whether or not this kind of hate speech is justified or not. Because when the closing government justifying that, oh, this is totally for the protection for the idol, but I think that as a fun, because idol, for example, they need to focus on their career, they cannot maintain the chat that is going on in Instagram, for example, or in social media. Therefore, I think that the fully this also address the opening government justification that the hate speech is for the protection for the not for the deafened, for the idol. Because when it comes, I will prove to you that this is not true, right? Because the hate speech in any kind of like driven act itself, it's purely comes from the intentionally from the individual or the fans itself. Why is that so? Because when it comes to fans, when the government benches want to say, oh, that the idol already give like emotional bonds whatsoever, I think that in the current in the very first thing, I think that idol already give like enough education in the current status quo, right? For example, idol already like send like a default, or maybe like in paper in social media, that hi fans, please maintain the, for example, political correctness, for example, or respect other people or idol whatsoever. And it been announced toward the social media, and other fans, other fandom, for example, already like for example spread this kind of views or whatsoever. Therefore, when it comes to like for the emotional bond that therefore when it comes to like protection, why in the end this should justify this kind of hate speeches, that in the end they should punish the idol, can be justified to begin with. Yeah, any POI calling once. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the government benches, you're already late. Therefore, the government benches, therefore the government benches argument to begin with cannot fly. And I will prove to you also, second of all, when it comes to like the people intention, when this kind of fandom have like this several like for example character that cannot be found towards other idol compared to their own idol, means that this kind of individual have their own like for example interest or maybe standard on why the judgmental thing can come out toward their mouth, for example, or in their they do this kind of hatred. Therefore, it depends on like social it depends on the individual for example emotion which is not linked toward the idol. But even if in the end of the day the idol have effect towards the hatred that is coming out, I think that's still not justified for the idol to be punished. Because when it comes to for example ethical conduct, the wrong people or the something that spread the hatred is the fans itself, if is the fans itself, right? I think that if you punish the idol in any kind of form, I think it won't be justified to begin with. Therefore, the closing my member argument regarding like why in the end of the day if you punish this kind of idol will be worsening the hatred will be there, and really important to be talked about and to be our contribution. Why to begin with we should champion why in the end of the day this argument could be fight to begin with. Because when we punish the idol, means that the idol itself cannot, for example, go to art industry, for example, or cannot be debuted and whatsoever, right? Therefore, if this kind of thing happen when the idol being vanished in the industry at some moment, means that the other idol or other fandom whatsoever, in the end of the day, they will create like other critics toward the fans that delivering hate speech, for example, or maybe or maybe in any cases, means that there is like a snowball effect regarding the hatred that is coming out. Therefore, the hate speeches itself can affect like the industry as a whole, for example. Therefore, it won't be already it's already 6, so therefore it will be harmful to begin with. Therefore, the 0 points will be should be taken under for this point. And something that problematic under the clause under the government benches is that they brought to you that, oh, the punishment is about, like, for example, we will socially name shaming the idol, for example, whatsoever. But I think that the closing, and I think that the government benches do not take the burden, because when it comes to like name shaming was and whatsoever, it's already in the status quo, right? It means that it already the mechanism is already in the status quo and already enough to deter the this kind of idols to India not they being for example, taking care of the for their fans, to like remind them to be respectful whatsoever. Therefore, the government benches do not take the burden on how the punishment or mechanism will work. Therefore, on the side of the house, under the causing opposition, we proud to oppose, or at least we prove to you several things that are not being brought by the opening opposition.
Thank you, Opposition Whip, for that speech. That concludes the debate. Thank you so much, everyone. You may virtually cross and shake hands. I think all the debaters can wait here while the judges deliberate. For the judges, please head on over to Discord to channel A1 so we can deliberate. Thank you, everyone.